Manure. I hate manure. That's Biff Tannen again from Back to the Future 2. So we got a double header here of the two cars from that second movie of Back to the Future. So they're both by MJ. It's quite interesting. The gray is different on these boxes. I'm pretty sure these are not licensed models. There's no approval here by Universal Studios or anything like that. So if you care about the law and ethics and all that, this is not your channel. Sorry. I can't help everyone. I can't go and get Universal's approval and then send them to some Chinese company to make the model. But let's get this thing going, as always. That one. You notice that one had a background. This one just has like a mirror, and I apologize, I'm not wearing a shirt. It's hot. I live in the tropics. It's always hot here, even with the air conditioning on. So to spare you, I'm going to get this out of here and remove that reflective piece. There's not much to it, yeah. Reflective mirror, okay. And then this one, though, has, I guess they're trying to have one backing for, you know, each movie. So I do wonder, you know, is there a copycat? I think what's going on is, you know, the same factory is just putting out the same stuff, but the nameplates look identical, so I don't know why there would be a change like that. MJ, what are you guys doing? I don't know. Let's start with the good old regular grounded version. This thing's all scratched up, but nothing you can do about it. I mean, it was covered in plastic, so 2 black screws are holding this thing in place. I'm not going to remove it. I don't care if it rolls. I believe that's the movie car, but I might be mistaken. I just did a search for official, and this is what came up. It's got the Mr. Fusion on the back. So much like the first review, the giant oversight from MJ or whoever designed this thing is these giant black exhausts or whatever. There's silver on this model. There was silver on the other one as well. It's such a huge oversight. Very strange. Yeah, see? Giant black things. And yet these are silver. So I don't know if they purposely do this in confidence to maybe sell a revised version next year that actually has the black, and maybe they'll try to sell, you know, people the same model twice. It could be some sort of weird strategy ploy to double their money, but I'm not going to fall for it because I'm just going to paint those black myself later. And then quite interesting, this is an oversight as well. So here it is in the flying mode from the movie, and you'll notice those black vents don't actually cover up the taillights like the real car. I think this is maybe a fiberglass replica or something. I may have glanced on the internet. And then you'll notice it does have this barcode license plate, which I noticed on the first movie car, but I don't know if the first movie car had that license plate. By now maybe someone commented on that in that review, but very often my reviews take a month, if not a year, until I publish them. So I apologize for that, but I try to have a new video for you guys every day, and I have to plan these things out well ahead of time because I have other things to do. So here we now have the flying version, of course, and that's a shot right from the movie. Mr. Fusion. You can't even see the things because they're black, but here you can see the silver, right? So, and now you'll see the cabling here is black, very much like that. I guess, I don't know, on this car, I guess there might be some black cabling there. Yeah, alright, well. One thing here, on this view, here on this side rear view, you see these 3 red, like, capacitor looking things, and those are on the model. But then on, like, say this side, you got these 3 like olive colored, they look almost like missiles or, you know, some sort of projectiles, and there's 3 of them on this model. So yeah, minus the oversight of the black paint and the exhaust sticking out quite a bit, they did a decent job on these, and that's why I bought these 2, because I think the first movie car was good enough to warrant me purchasing these 2 movie cars here. Honestly, if you're trying to save money, you probably don't need this one, because all you're getting is Mr. Fusion. But this one, clearly, you know, this is quite unique compared to the first movie car. So, both of these now you'll see, this is quite interesting. Look at the nameplate, right? They both say MJ. This one, they both say around 1,000 pieces, but look at the two. Those are separated, this is combined. I ordered these from the same reseller. So they're making running changes as they're making these, or is there, I don't know, it's strange. You would think they would be identical plates, but maybe this is a way for them to distinguish the road car versus the flying car? Possibly? Leave a comment if you have any theories. Most of my stuff is just guessing. Okay, let's get a better angle here of light. Alright, well, much like the first model I reviewed, it's got a brushed body. This is a die-cast body, but they brushed it so it looks like brushed stainless steel, which is what happens on the real DeLorean. So, but unfortunately, you know, being a die-cast, you do have some pock marks and stuff from the casting process. I don't think they're casting these under a lot of pressure or something, so... Okay, well, the wheels, yeah, I mean, they're good enough. They don't have as many spokes as a real DeLorean, but a real DeLorean has like 50 spokes. You just can't shrink that down, you know, without filling in the gaps and stuff like that with paint. So I think this is a good compromise. I do like that they went and added the black here in the center cap, and then you do have recesses for the fuller bolts, which is realistic. And then it's nice to see Eagle GT and Goodyear there printed pretty well. I'm not a big fan of the rally tires, though. There's just no reason to see tread blocks like this. This is not an off-road mud bogging truck, you know. It's just no need for it. Oh well. Okay, so we have this black molding here. The door handle actually is recessed there. We have a lock there. Looks good. So this black cabling, it's got a bunch of silver brackets or something, clamps holding those cables together. So that looks nice. No idea what this thing would be on the car, but I do see it on the photo. So, although I do see it more wrapped under the car, whereas this is more on the side of the car. So that, where is it? Is it hanging? It's hard to say, but I almost feel like this is vertical, and if I look at the flying car picture, it's more horizontal and it's more under the car. So that's not perfect, but I'm not aware of a better looking DeLorean in this scale that's from these movies, so it's gonna have to do. Looking into molded windows, we have some raised ribbing here and painted black, and then we have this separate plastic black mirror with the reflective sticker. It looks like the sticker seems a little small. Oh well. Then we have this little junction box with some silver printing looking alright. Let's see on the back here. Now this is cool. It's got this metal etching here, some sort of conduit cover, and then again some more black and silver paint. That looks pretty nice. There's a red reflector back here, and then you got those three round things. This little grill I think is a separate metal piece. Some sort of other round things. There's a lot of colors going on back here, and still you can see the brushing of the casting looking nice. And now this is nice to know, this is flexible, so not going to snap very easily. Although I do question over time if this rubber is going to harden and then crack. But that's probably a good 10 years out at least, hopefully. Alright, I do see some sort of blue hose connector things on that rear photo. I've seen this before in a different photo, so a lot of this does actually match up with photographs of the rear end of the car. And then you got this weird doohickey on the roof, and then Mr. Fusion there, and it's silver, unfortunately. This is not clear plastic. It would have been cool if that was clear, and then they painted it white. But the text on it does kind of look like Mr. Fusion. I'm magnified 4 times, so it's close enough to Mr. Fusion to me. Okay, back out. So yeah, the glaringly silver things. When oddly, look at this. I think that's black plastic right there. Right? They literally molded it the right color and then wasted the effort and the resources to paint them silver, which is clearly wrong, right? So that's really strange. Clear taillights look good. There's some black printing here for the segmentation. The license plate looks fantastic. Printed on, it looks like. Some boxes there. This DeLorean thing is molded into the bumper. And unfortunately, these exhaust pipes are not realistic to these cars. I just don't see any exhaust pipes at all. So that's a weird, I don't know why they did that. Okay, this is continuing under to the other side, and then we have some black paint in those little slots. Looks good. I guess we'll wrap around to this side. We got those 3 green things, and there's 2 blue things looking roundish behind it. Some sort of silver box tops, and then some ribbing here. Okay, the tires have good printing. Just again, the weird knobbies, not a big fan of. Sorry, this door here looks pretty much similar to the other side. Looks pretty much symmetric. The front, yeah, it's slammed. I don't know why they chose to slam the tire that far, but I will say though, in that first photograph I pulled up, I can't see the top of the tire, but it is more of a top-down photograph, so I do feel like this is maybe slammed a little too much. Okay, so that box there, we got some more metal photo etch stuff, conduit cover, and then the DMC there, it looks pretty good. I think it's printed silver. Let me zoom in though, no, it is printed silver. Look at those headlights, you got some clear covers with some black borders printed on, and then behind them you have 3-dimensional light buckets with some light bulbs in there. So I think that looks pretty fantastic. And then you got some black printing on this bumper. Maybe they're clamps or something to hold this conduit on, I'm not sure. And then down here there's a recess, I think, or I feel a texture. Hold on, let me see if I can get some light and hit refocus. Yeah, so there's a texture there, and I think that's actually a separate metal piece, that grill in the bottom section. So coming up to the top again, we got just flat photo etch wiper blades, I think. Or maybe they're possibly molded in, because they are molded windows. I thought they were photo etch. I don't know. I feel like it's a different surface. You know, this looks wrinkly, like it was painted poorly. This one's smooth, right? So it looks like they're separate pieces to me. But they're not bent perpendicular. Alright, so not much else to look at up top. The door cuts up here. I do wonder if they plan to have a version with the doors open. Maybe not MJ, but I'm sure it won't be long till someone makes this same casting with the doors open. So I'll go into the interior. It's pretty much the same, I think, as the first one I reviewed. It's got that handle in the middle section. But unfortunately there's no flux capacitor in the middle back there. There is a 3-dimensional plastic molded rear view mirror. Yeah, see, in between those seats you have a rectangle. It would have been so cool. I think, you know, that rectangle is supposed to be the flux capacitor. It would have been cool if they put a decal there of the flux capacitor itself, but not happening. All things considered though, this has more detail than most die-cast cars in this price range, so you gotta look at it that way. Alright, well, I guess that's it for the one that's grounded. Let's see what differences we have with the flying version. So the front end, that grill, yeah, it's got that metal piece down there. The logo looks good, the headlights look good, all the conduit on the side matches the same, the back end details I think are the same, the license plate's the same, those funky exhausts are the same. Now wait a second, is this hollow or not? I can't remember in the last one. Nope, this is just a flat surface I think with a black paint on it. Yeah, I mean it's a little bit dimpled, but obviously there's too much black on this side and not enough on that side, so it looks super weak. Alright, this going around here looks pretty good as far as the upper stuff. So really, I guess the only change is they just swapped out the wheels, right? Everything else I think is pretty much identical. So let's take a look at this wheel mechanism here. 2 arms, I guess, and some sort of perimeter bolts or something holding the hub. And then is there any detail of a shock or something? Let's maybe look at the front. Hold on, I think we're gonna need the flashlight again. No, not much. No. Maybe right there there's some silver down there, but I do feel like they could have maybe molded some more detail into this. Something that looks like pistons that would actuate this stuff. So not a great effort from whoever designed this. And whoever designed this, in their defense, it's impossible to see what really is going on this vehicle. I mean, that photo where it's flying is just all darkness there. So I guess they just interpreted how this thing could possibly work. One thing I find odd though is, you know, I kind of feel like maybe they should have some really long screws and some really tall spacers and have this thing actually flying above this white piece of plastic, right? Right now it's just in a landed mode, but it would never land like this in the movie, right? It's just weird. So, I guess I am gonna have to take this off the base, because I'm gonna make this baby fly if I have. Let's see how much room we have in this case. We can get it off the ground a little bit, maybe, I don't know, 1 centimeter at least. So let's take a look, unscrew this and see what we're dealing with. I'm gonna hold the roof so it doesn't just fall off. By the way, if you collect models that come in these boxes, you really want to tape off these heads if you're going to stack them. I've had some of these screws scratch the clear top of the thing that's below it. So, yeah, learn from my mishaps. These are actually machine screws. They're not like plastic screws. Alright, well, at least the wheels do still look like DeLorean wheels. But as you can see, they didn't bother adding the black center that's painted on the... Whoa, I don't know why it zooms that fast all of a sudden. What's going on here? Sorry. And then that, I'm not sure why this tire looks the way it does. Or really this tire, I think is strange. Don't know. I guess it won't matter so much when I have it flying, but I don't know. That's... Maybe it's because it was squished against that white thing so much and now it's hardened. It almost looks like the tire is not big enough, right? But the fronts are fine, so I'm not sure why these two rears are so messed up. Strange. Very strange. Okay, well, oddly, someone took the time to model all this stuff. I have no idea if that's what the bottom of a DeLorean looks like, but they obviously missed, again, my gripe. No black giant exhaust. And then this seems to be a separate muffler, and again, that's kind of weird that it has these really long tailpipes. Oh, look at this. This thing's actually broken away. Did I just do that myself? Possibly. A little crazy glue will fix that. Alright, so maybe I'll have to do that. Alright, so I'm going to have to find some spacers. Let me come back. Alright, so I came up with a solution, I think. I happen to have these nylon spacers. These are 3mm threaded nylon spacers. But I looked at the actual screw holding this thing in, and it's like a weird size. It's not 2mm, it's like 2.2, 2.3, maybe. I don't know what they come in increments, but it's definitely bigger than 2. So I don't happen to have screws like that laying around, so I can't use these. So I'm going to take this 3mm spacer here, and I'm basically going to thin it down and then thread it into the metal body, and it'll rethread itself. So I reviewed this knife separately. It seems to work pretty well. It comes with extra blades in the handle, and you just loosen this and tighten it to remove the blade. But what makes this knife good is there's a groove here, so it's supporting half of the blade, and it keeps the blade very rigid compared to like a normal X-Acto handle. Also, I found that you don't need to have this much length, so I'm just wasting my time there. Maybe that much should be plenty to keep that thing in place. Bearing in mind, since these are plastic, I mean, if you threw this against a wall, possibly the weight of the die cast might break these off, but it's not my intention to do that, so I think I should be good. So I'm cutting into this, but now I'm going to cut it away from this and try to taper it a little bit so I can get it into the hole of the die cast. So that's pretty, well, let's see, let's take a look. I already have one in the other one. Nope, I need to cut away some more, so. If you want to be a little more precise, you could use like a mini file like this, and particularly if it has a flat side, you're not going to, you know, sand away the actual hexagon it's going to rest against. But I have a slight angle because I want to start the threading inside that hole. Possibly that could be correct now. Possibly. Can't say for sure. Only done it once before. Alright, so yeah, it started in the hole. And then I'm just gonna twist, and it's basically threading itself as we speak. And you'll kind of have to guess, but there, I think it's bottomed out now against the casting. So I have different lengths, but I find this length is probably going to work best. Now, unfortunately, the holes are 3 millimeters. These are not, so I have to take a drill and I have to drill out so I can get these plastic screws into those plastic nuts. So let me come back. Alright, drilled it out, left a little residue behind. Just chased that with the blade there. I almost wish this base was black so you wouldn't see the spacers. Oh well. So in theory, now I should be able to just screw this plastic thing through into those standoffs. Maybe I don't need a screwdriver yet. Get that one started, come on. Get it started in here. Why is it not catching? Okay, finally. Not easy to do. Wait, to find the other one. Man, that's not easy. It's trying to screw something in with just your fingertips. Okay. Well, let's get the screwdriver after all. I think these screwdrivers are like $1 or something. If I can find a link, I will for you guys. It's good to get into tight spaces, obviously. You don't want to screw too hard or you'll strip out the head. Alright, well, there we go. So now we have a flying DeLorean, and you can kind of see the wheels there. You could obviously put taller spacers in, but let's see how it looks when I cover it back up. I think that works pretty well. Alright, so if you don't want to buy a big set of these things, let me tell you the dimensions of this one if you think this spacing is good. That's like a 9. It's either an 8 or a 9. So that's how high that standoff is. And then again, it's an M3, metric 3 nut and screw. Alright. So before these MJ things, I would have to say the best DeLorean was by Charo Wheels, which is the Japanese Hot Wheels. They're actually made by Bandai. Those are the guys that make Gundam model kits. And supposedly have the most advanced plastics injection. So they're just more detailed, better, crisper details than the Hot Wheels. But it still has the silly exposed axles that Hot Wheels are known for. But you notice the spokes are well done. They're pretty thin looking, right? Just a solid plastic wheel. And then we have the first movie MJ here, which again, there's another 1,000 of those. And I guess numeral number, I don't know, I guess maybe it matches that one more. I guess I'll just put it over here though. So I will say, the little hook that grabs the electrical cable, that's not very great. You know, if you look at the pictures of the movie car, it's not just a metal bar like that. It's got like all sorts of wires and stuff coming up and down it. In the promotional pictures, I think had it. So I don't know if a different brand's going to come out with this with a better hook. It's a possibility. It'll probably be from the same factory, but don't be surprised if that happens, to have this first car with a better hook. We'll have to see what happens. Okay, but otherwise, yeah, it looks like the interiors are all the same, just looking at the dashboard. And then other than the Mr. Fusion, I think a lot of the details that are around the engine, the top of the engine there, or rear compartment there, look generally identical. I could, from initial impressions at least. Yeah, this is actually not too far off from 164-ish. Seems a little bit bigger, but not drastically so. And then again, this first movie car has that barcode license plate. I just don't know, I can't remember if that happened or not. Again, maybe someone commented in the other review by now. Alright, well, at least this thing's flying now. This is the way it should have come. So the only issue really is just why aren't, those things aren't black. I've said it like 10 times now. I guess whenever I get around to getting the Western themed cowboy DeLorean, I'm gonna go and just paint all 4 of them to have darker exhaust, but I might as well wait until I do that. Get that other review out there. Thank you for watching today, and I guess as Doc Brown would say, roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads.